Yo, 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 this is Steve, back with another episode of the Black Superheroes Matter podcast. Again, thanks for joining me. And today we have artist Freshawn, who is a Little Rock, Arkansas based illustrator who started his own series called The Wood Witches. And you can check that out on Instagram, Facebook, Webtoon, and Patreon at The Wood Witches. And with this project, his goal is really to create comics that empower and showcase various kinds of people that exist under the sky. And so it's a great conversation. I'm excited for y'all to learn more about him and his project and to push this series further. And so without further ado, let's get it started. Thanks for taking the time to hop on the podcast with me and kind of just share a little bit of what you do and all that stuff. How's everything?
Honestly, thank you.
Definitely. How's everything been with you since really this whole pandemic began?
since the trying times. Well, it's the first week that we were being let's do self quarantine, isolate. I was kind of in this freak out depressive mode and kind of just watched anime all day. But then some fire got lit in me and I was I'm gonna work on finishing my book, my comic, and make sure that I get it to where I want it to be, because there's not. I have so much time to do that right now.
Yeah.
since I'm not hanging out with people or anything. No distractions, no excuse not to. So I've really just kind of dived into my work and spent countless hours on the comic, and it's been helping me to not focus so much and worry on the things I can't really change, and also get a comic done.
Oh yeah. I think that's sort of the blessing, despite all the things that are happening, is that creatively, at least for me, I have time to work on stuff I've been trying to finish for for years, and
Yeah.
kind of, or even for me, I'm a 2D animator, and I've always wanted to get into 3D animation and modeling, and so because of all the coronavirus stuff, there's been sales on online courses to learn Blender and 3D modeling and animation, and so I've been really sort of diving deeper into that, and I've been trying to do that for the past 5-6 years, and so kind of seeing this as looking at the glass half full sometimes is always good.
Yeah, that's really good to take the time to dive back into things that you maybe forgot about.
Oh yeah. It's tough, but it's tough to sort of navigate this thing. But if you have the skills and you have the tools available, this is definitely this is how the Renaissance starts, where there's these horrendous things happening amongst everybody, and then the beacon of hope often becomes outlets of creativity and outlets of inspiration that people really start to feed off of and start to share and express, and I think just for Black creators, with the advent of Kickstarter and Amazon and self-publishing and comic conventions and all that,
Yep.
we've really seen sort of a renaissance of Black creativity in comics and animation, and hopefully eventually video games. But it's definitely
Yes.
I think this is one of the things that people really are able to build off of.
Ooh, and you said Black video games. I know a Black creator in my town that's actually working on making a video game, and he's getting a diverse cast, LGBTQ plus, and he's just working. He's been working really hard on it. He has his handle on Instagram is Straucus Game, I think.
Okay.
but I could probably send you a link at some point. But yeah, like I've like even my other friends have been just like creating, and it's been really good for them. I mean, not the stress of the world, but it's been, they've had time to like focus on their craft.
Oh man, yeah, and I think that's people either going to binge watch Netflix and get tired of that, they're going to play video games and get tired of that, or they will go create. Hopefully, they could read a book or something.
Exactly.
But like it's a I think a lot of people have really it's a lot of people have really been sort of shaken up by this whole paradigm shift, like overnight paradigm shift, where careers that they've invested decades into are essentially obsolete right now, and a lot of and people need to fill that void with to sort of like subside that uncertainty now. And so I'm like, with creativity and entertainment and really like bookmaking and all those sort of like wholesome outlets, I'm really interested to see like what comes out of it.
Yeah, me too. And like even like it's our time is being dated, marked. You can tell because of like the kind of art that people are producing and what it's about, like the themes. Like you'll see like a lot of art with like the masks or people talking about the injustices at this time because of what the coronavirus issues are bringing out, like to light, especially with like some like bad things that are just like in America in general.
Yeah.
but yeah, like it's kind of funny because like my comic, like I had started a year, like over a year ago, and like I wrote a little history for it so I could have like immerse myself in this world that I was creating. And like I had said that the the end was supposed to be like 2040 because like it was supposed to be like after this world had been kind of like reduced to something else, basically post-apocalyptic, and the path thereon, like and it was kind of funny, like I was like, oh, this is supposed to be later, not now. And like I just didn't expect the apocalypse to be like this in my house with Wi-Fi.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and like even there's a line in my comic that I was writing. It was talking about what like I called this time period Old World, and it's and there's a line in it where it's like everything that Old World had built up was blown away by war, famine, and disease. And I'm just like writing the disease part, like, oh no,
Yep,
here we are.
Like
it's
just wild. I wouldn't even say it's like at the point of like I wouldn't classify it as surreal. It's just this is just wild, it's just wild.
Yeah.
And so like kind of describe a little bit of like what do you do creatively? Because when you say like you talk about making a comic, that can mean a multitude of different things. That could be could be writing, that could be penciling, inking, doing the art, coloring, animating. I mean, like it literally could be anything. And so kind of like describe what do you do with your creative process, or what do you do creatively?
Oof, well, even like I guess the other side of my creativity is music. I do music. I like sometimes like just make up stuff and just put it on Bandcamp. I'm in a band.
Nice.
But then but with the other well, I haven't been in it in a minute considering. But the other things like with the comic, that stuff, I'm making a graphic novel. That's what my goal is, to make 4 books in a series. I just finished one like a few days ago even.
Okay.
And or maybe about a week at least, I don't know. But my process is I usually write out the big points of a chapter, and then I will try my best to like sketch it out and like the rough idea of what I want the chapter to be, and like with the the text and all that jazz. I usually change it by the end of it, but then I go into Photoshop and I will make the panels for all the pages of that chapter. Then I'll go and do all the line work, then go back and put in the text, then the color and the onomatopoeias or sound words, all that jazz. And then I usually just post it somewhere like to like Patreon or whatever.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, that's pretty much the process. It sounds easy, but it's kind of a lot.
I mean, yeah, it's I think as a creator, because I pretty much do the same thing. I think the only difference that I have in my process is that I use Clip Studio for a lot of my paneling and a lot of my for my letters, my paneling, my speech bubbles, and my line work, and then all the other stuff in terms of exporting, all the other stuff is done in Photoshop. It's
I bet.
like it's ultimately like Photoshop is king, and I think for me, because I too like to just make a lot of pages. Clip Studio has been very, very good in terms of managing pages for a book or for an issue, and so I would if you have the luxury, because I think they're running a sale for Clip Studio right now, and I think it's only like $50 or something like that. But if you I would definitely look into it to sort of like optimize your workflow a little bit more.
Yeah, that sounds I would love to do anything that optimizes it, because it takes so long to do it's like Photoshop. It took me a while to like even get to have a process. It took so long, because like I remember the first day I was like, if I don't just dive in here, I won't do anything. So I was like, let me just make these first 2 pages and see how that goes. And it took so many hours, and it didn't even I didn't even like it, and I was like, So then I went back and I was just like, new process. We're gonna have to come up with a thing so we don't take a million years to do one chapter or even one page for that matter. And it took a lot of trial and error before I came up with an actual process that works for me. And my friends are like, you work fast. And I'm like, I'm just obsessed.
It's like, I'm just trying to get this done. It's
yeah, really though. Because I know if I don't, I just won't.
And I think that's sort of the blessing and the curse of being able to having the skill to do it all yourself, but also really just doing it all yourself. Is that in order for you to move on to another idea, you have to finish the one, or you'll just linger with you, and you will never it will never go away until it gets out there. And so it's kind of one of those internal drives that kind of keeps you sane. It's I just need to get this out, because if I don't, I'm gonna go crazy.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's oh man, yeah, I did it all myself, and then but when you're doing it, it's oh man, I got to do this all myself.
It's God dang,
who did this?
Yeah, have you got to the point where you're working on when you're working on a script for it, even just a script for it, and you're just halfway through the script, you're I could add this element in, but if I do, I know this is going to take 4 or 5 hours to do.
Yeah, yeah, I did that because I was on my last chapter, and I was reading through it again after I was about to be on the line work, and then I was like, this one part just needs to be a little more full, and it's lacking, and I was like, I know that if I do this, it's gonna add 14 more, at least 10 more pages, and I was like, well. Yeah, and I did it because I was I don't want to just do my story and then just get it done. I want it to be the way I want it to be,
Oh, yeah.
And I was kind of mad at myself, but once I got done with it, I was like, yes, no, this is what I needed to do. If I hadn't have done this, I would have just been even more mad at myself, and I would have been had that empty feeling of I didn't complete it though.
Or you left so I play football, so I always have a lot of sports references, but it always feels like you kind of left a little bit on the field that you didn't need to. It was just like you you could have put more effort into the finished product. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's always rough. It's always rough. Being a creator, I think, especially like being a black creator, because there's often many opportunities where like you have an idea and it makes sense to you, and there's all the cultural relevancy, and there's all these things that like you feel people would identify with. But then
Yeah.
when you try to share that idea, before it's even a finished product, when you try to share that idea during its conception, people tend to like sort of downplay it, or people don't necessarily like give it the respect that it deserves. And yeah, it's always one of those things where it's just like, people don't like the people that you show things through, or the people that you share things with that have criticism. It's like more than likely they can't do what you do anyway. And really, you can't.
Yeah.
Other people can't define the success until it hits the market, because nobody knows. I
Man.
mean, all this stuff is uncertain until it's out
Yeah.
there, and it's out in the world, and it's living to stand on its own. It's
I, I'm honestly just super lucky that like the amount of supportive people I have in my life and in my circle. 'Cause like most of my friends are like creators of some sort, and even if they're not creators, they're like super supportive of what I'm working on or doing. And like I could be like, "Hey, want to listen to me for 5 hours talk about my thing that I'm excited about?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Or like my best friend Paco, he's an amazing artist, and like sometimes we'll just like work on stuff together, and just like not like together, but in the same
yeah.
room. Working on something completely different. Like he'll be like drawing his fantastic art, and I'll be making my comic and like laughing to myself.
Hey, I mean, like it's just even being in a space to create with somebody else. Quite often I'm
Yeah.
always looking for opportunities not to work by myself. Like it, like
Yeah.
I think you kind of get tired of just that whole sort of like working in your basement or working in your room for countless hours,
Uh,
fine tuning this
yeah.
before it flourishes, and then you go out into the real world and you show everybody your magnificent thing that you worked on by yourself. And it's that kind of gets tired and played out when we want to be social. We want to at least like be around people, and we also want to like be
Yep.
creative as well. And I feel like I'm always looking for opportunities to do both at the same time.
Yeah. Like I even made like a little group chat. Like I have a couple group chats with just like artist friends, and we'll just share like what we're working on. Even if it's just like or like a whip or something. And oh, that's you hear all that?
Oh wow, yeah.
Fun
It
time.
sounds like something's about to go down right now.
Yeah, about to go down. But sorry. Yeah, most of my life is just references to other things. But yeah, like it's crazy the amount of hours I've just spent alone in my room. I'm so lucky that I have a window in my
Oh
bedroom.
yeah,
Like my desk is like where my window is. So I work from my like desk, but at least I can look out and have hope and see the world and hear the fire sirens and but see the birds and cats. But so it gives me hope, like, cause like that that things exist outside the world I create, or just the world that is my house.
yeah. It's it's
Huh.
it's it's rough, man. And so like how did you get into creating? Was it something that like you've always
Ooh.
wanted to do? Was there sort of like a something that you saw, or like a spark that sort of like lit that fire? Or yeah, like how did you kind of get into creating?
Well, I kind of was just like doing it like as like a kid, like even like at 3 years old. But like it wasn't like good art because I was 3 years old. Unless I was a prodigy, I wasn't. but but I was not. But like I used to just draw like characters like even from like Hey Arnold, and people like I'm pretty sure they weren't good. I bet I thought they were. But but like people were like, "Ooh, can you draw this?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And it's been like just a kind of constant thing. I mean, I feel like there was like some years between like 3 and 8 or something that I just didn't draw or something. But when I was 8, I just started writing these like crappy little short stories. And I'll even like be vulnerable and tell you the name of them. They were called the Super Kitties. They weren't, they're about these like, it's basically like Spider-Man, but like, because like with the origin story of like a spider and nuclear waste or nuclear whatever. But then, like, instead, it's like cats.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, these people got like cat powers, but also like elemental powers. But like, they weren't good, but like, they were a thing that happened, and they sparked me writing and drawing forever. And I always spent like just such a long time either in my room or just anywhere with like a sketchbook and like writing out like building a world and what was in it and a plot line that I would never write because I didn't have the attention span. And drawing characters from those stories. So that's really kind of how I got into it.
Okay. And so with your work now, like what have been sort of the things that you've been trying to do to promote all that stuff? Because I know like a lot of things a lot of like Black creators have really relied on like social media and conventions to really get their work out there. Because just at the end of the day, Black people just aren't getting published across the board. And so like how have you been
self-publishing?
Like how have you been sort of like affected by all the Comic Cons and stuff sort of like being shut down right now?
Well, I haven't actually gotten to go to a Comic Con yet. Like I wanted to go like once I finished my book. Like so I could like promote. I've never gotten to do that. Like I went to a Comic Con once actually, but it was because like the band I was in was playing at it. But yeah, so I didn't really get the full experience. I've always wanted to go, but I bet in the future, maybe in a bright sunny world with no COVID-19, I'll be able to take my book and take the world by storm. But if anything, like when you were saying social media, I've been trying to like branch out with the social media I use. Cause like I haven't even like gotten a webtoon account until like a few days ago, so I could promote the comic.
Oh yeah.
And start a base there, because like people will tell me to do that, but like I wanted to do it once I finished the book, had the content to like share like maybe once a week, and not worry about having to write it and being stressed about that.
I mean production workflows, and they will tear the mess out of you if you're not ready for them.
Oh God, yeah, that's why I was like, not gonna do that to myself. Not yet, at least. And I made some business cards, which I don't know how powerful they'll be right now in this social distancing world. But so like, cause like I made business cards before, but like it was with stuff I wasn't as passionate about. But like I'm super passionate about this comic and graphic novel, what I'm doing right now. And like, I still made the cards. I still want to like maybe like even sanitize them and just throw them places or something. I don't know. Just stick them in somebody's windshield. But and I don't know. Like I also got a website, thewoodwitches.com, because I was like, that's another way to like try to branch out. That's something I never thought I could do, but I was like, might as well.
Yeah, I think just the beauty of comics is that it will take you, just by participating in trying to get your work out there and creating, it puts you in a position to really sort of like dabble in a whole bunch of different things, because it's like
Mhm.
if you've never written before and you're only a one man team, then you probably gonna have to write your comic. And then if you have to illustrate, like obviously you would have to illustrate it. You have to do like the lettering and the dialogue. You could play around with colors.
Yep.
You could be your own cover artist. If you want to have,
Uh-huh.
if you want to do some like social media stuff, you might get into like motion graphics and animation. In order to get it online, you go into,
Mhm.
website design and all those different things. And if you want to go into print, then you go into book design. I think there's so many sort of like extensions from the medium that I really, really appreciate because I do just so many different things and I'm able to do all that within, a confined project.
Yeah, that's nice. And yeah, like you do take on so many roles, like in doing a comic. And I was just laughing because like I had myself a pizza, and I was like, yeah, pizza party for the crew, the Wood Witches crew. we've got the design team, the writers, and they're all me. So we all get to enjoy this pizza. Pumped.
The overhead
But
is low.
yeah, yeah, but like I feel like in the past week after writing the comic, I'm still learning so many new things because not only have I had to wear those hats that I was just mentioning, but now I'm like having to wear new hats like marketing and like thinking about it like business, even though I feel like I'm still like not the best about those kinds of things, but I'm learning. And it's been fun. It's been real.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
been
It's
real.
just and it only gets realer once you get into conventions and stuff. It's you know
Oh
uh,
wow.
one of the things that people often talk about is that conventions are exhausting. I mean, much like Kickstarters. Kickstarters are exhausting. Trying to promote your stuff to people who have no idea who you are, don't know the an ounce about you, and it can be exhausting sometimes, but it's also like rewarding
Yeah.
when you continue like down that road and then you meet people and you find people that
Uh huh.
follow you and love your work and will obviously support you. And so it's a you know it's a it it I wouldn't like it any other way. um I would just wish that convention tables would be a little cheaper.
How much are they?
I mean, I've
I feel like they're like in the
oh
hundreds.
yeah, easy. Yeah. I mean, you're averaging probably like 150 to 400 per
Okay.
per event, I would say. And so sort of
Yeah.
like the mentality for like the first day or so is just trying to just make enough money to cover your table.
To
Yeah,
pay it
just to pay it
back.
back. And then
after buying your own
yeah,
books.
right. Like you got to figure out how to break even first, and then from there, it's just then from there, it becomes a little less stressful, and but it's
Yeah.
it's something that I definitely enjoy, and I'm looking forward to sort of like getting back to that, the new normal, I suppose. But
Yeah.
but yeah, thanks. I really appreciate you taking the time to really talk with us and share a little bit about what you do and everything. And, if there's anything that you're like excited about coming up on your end, I know you mentioned like probably getting on Webtoons or anything. If you want to plug something right now, feel
Uh huh.
free to.
Okay, well, I have, like I said, my website, which kind of tells you, at least shows you a bunch of links to what I have, like going on right now. The link, thewoodwitches.com. That's it's just that simple. And then it'll show you like different things. I have a Patreon, the Wood Witches. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, um, Webtoon, like I just said, and and I have a book. I have a book out. It's on
Oh, nice.
Amazon. It's The Wood Witches Book
Okay.
One. Yeah, The Wood Witches Book One, by Freshawn Womack. It's like 250
Oh,
something
dang.
pages.
Wow.
So
You coming out with
yeah,
the pages, man. I like that. That's nice. That's nice.
thank you. Yeah, it's been over a year of work.
Hey, that's I think that is, I think, the best feeling to always hear is or the best news to always hear is we're in an age where there isn't a hindrance on how many pages people can produce now, and it's always encouraging to see that, like, people aren't
Yeah.
just producing one issue and trying to get funding for that. People are just producing volumes of work because they care about the medium, and they care about having those stories out there. And then and
Yeah.
that's what I really appreciate about, like, creators nowadays, that like those hindrances that were like a big thing before are often not really that now, just because of just paradigm shifts.
Yeah, we have so much power as creators in this like digital age, like to just share our work, for people to just see it, and like for them, because like one of the issues comics is that people they may not like leap out on something that they just don't know what it is, like you said, they don't know who you are. And with Webtoon, with Facebook, all the stuff, I can just like upload my images of my comic, and then people know what it is. I mean, I still have to promote, of course, and be like, hey, look at my stuff. Hey, I'm going to bother all these people. Look at my stuff.
Yeah.
But we have that power to like to show people. And like, yeah, I don't really think I'm going to get like rich or anything, but like I love working. I'm going back to like a love that I've had since I was like 3.
Yeah.
and really just diving in, instead of just saying, well, I don't know if I can, or I don't know if people will read it. And someone got their book in the other day and flipped through the pages and showed me and said that they loved it and that they were excited about it. And I was just like, my heart. so like, that's an amazing feeling. And I'm working so people can get this idea out, because like, I want people to see Black women, just people of color, LGBTQ people in strong like roles, and that they can be like, because we've already seen a bunch of white guys, save the world a million times. So let somebody else do it.
Just give somebody else a chance. Like, aren't y'all tired now? Like, come on.
As a treat.
Yeah, just go do a bathroom break or something. Go play some video games. Let us do something.
Watch us make a movie.
Yeah, man. It's again, I really appreciate the time, and I really appreciate the conversation.
No worries.
And I'm gonna go check out that book, and hopefully you get a little bit more pub and everything, and just continue to keep following you, because you produce some pages. I'm curious to see where you're gonna be at next year, where after the COVID, like, how many pages are you gonna have now? Like, I'm really curious and like excited to see that. It's so yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, because it's like,
thank you.
What you're doing now is this is like I said, this is the Renaissance. This is the pre-Renaissance right now, and I'm really excited to like really like
we get to contribute to it.
Like it's the Corona Diaries. Like it's man.
Yeah, I'm planning on putting some stuff from this like situation in the comic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think we'll call it a wrap from there, and again, just be safe. Keep creating.
Thank you, you too.
And yeah, we'll be in contact.
All right, be well and drink water.
For sure, right? Yeah, have a good one.
Bye. Thank you. You too.
The purpose of this podcast is to promote Black creators in comics, cosplay, art, and animation, because Black superheroes matter, and so do their creators. You could follow, rate, subscribe to the Black Superheroes Matter series on Instagram at Black Superheroes Matter, on Facebook at Black Superheroes Matter. You can go to our website, blacksuperheroesmatter.com, or you can subscribe to this podcast on any podcast platform at Black Superheroes Matter. So again, my name is Stephen Christian, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this series.